Hey, it is Dawn Nicole here, CEO and founder of Queen City Women in Business, and here we are at the end of 2024. And I thought it was fitting to do a year in review because there's so much that happened this year, but more importantly, so much that I learned. So as I think about 2024, I think about this being the year that I could and I did, right? There were a lot of things that I did not know how I would do them this year. For example, one of the things we did is became a nationwide company this year. What that means is not only do we have members who are in about 17 states, but we opened up chapters. Little fun fact, before I actually opened up a chapter this year and licensed a chapter, I had never done that before. I had no idea what it would be like to sort of franchise the model. So this is something that we had to learn this year, learn how to figure it out. What does that look like? How do we show up in a new territory? How do we get market buy-in? And then how do we do it again? I'm so pleased to share with you that although Queen City Women in Business started as a vision and a dream to simply make contracting more accessible to diverse women-owned businesses, it grew and became a culture phenomenon, and it's continuing to grow today. So in 2024, not only did I figure it out with my first chapter president, Taja Graham, the chapter president of Indiana, quick shout out, but after we figured it out, we duplicated the model for Georgia with Crystal Newkirk as our Georgia chapter president. Shout out to Crystal Newkirk. Now, I don't know if you know how hard it is to take something that's net new, that has not been around for 10 years, and then take it to a new market territory and get market buy-in where people become believers, because that's what market buy-in is really about. It's about people believing enough in your product, in your vision to do something, to cause action. Not only did we do that in Indiana, we did it in Georgia, and we're continuing to do it today. However, through the process, here's what I learned. I learned that what if I don't need necessarily a chapter president model to grow into a new chapter? This is something that I learned along the way as I actually started doing. And sometimes that's what's interesting is you have to start doing things first to realize where you need to pivot and how you need to tweak. So many people sit back and they wait on the answers before they start. And I'm here to tell you the answers are not going to come to you until you start. It is about belief. It is about faith that it can happen, and it's about your execution. It takes all three. It takes all three. But that's not the only thing I learned this year. The other thing, that I learned this year is to put yourself first. And I know that sounds crazy, but we're so busy giving. Sometimes we let what we want allow us to put ourselves last. Think about how oxymoronic that sounds, right? Because it's what I want, I'm going to go hard in the paint, team no sleep. I'm going to go, 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 go. Well, this year I had to listen to my body. I was traveling so much, I was showing up, I was giving all of my energy to everyone else that I just wasn't pouring back into myself, and I paid for it with my health this year. So I've had to really kind of come back and be on a health recovery journey, right? To really, really work on me and be okay saying no when you need to say no. Even if you previously said yes, be okay. You are here to take care of yourself first and foremost. You got to put on your own mask before you put on other people's masks. And I really had to learn that this year. So listen, if you need to eat, eat. If you need sleep, get sleep. If you need to take a pause for the cause, take a pause, right? But do the things necessary for you to create the healthiest version of yourself. That's what I've also learned. Another thing I learned this year is authenticity is everything. Being authentic to who you are. You know, when you start a business and the business becomes somewhat successful, you have a lot of people in your ear. You have a lot of people saying, oh, you should do this, you should do this. You know what the other people are doing, but there's something beautifully committed and dedicated about being authentic to who you are and standing up for what you believe in. And we want it to be unapologetically community first. We wanted to focus on women small businesses who ordinarily don't get the same opportunities for contracting. We wanted to focus on this market, but not just give opportunities to these women, but give them the tools that they needed, right, to really win at the highest levels, whether it's through supplier diversity, through an RFP process, or simply building strategic relationships. So these are some things that we did this year that I'm so proud of. And speaking of teaching, we we actually invested 300 training hours. I want you to hear me. 300 training hours were invested this year. That's a lot of hours that we put to the test. So 300 hours in training, 4 major signature events across about 4 cities and states. And we also had, I think it was 14 supplier readiness roundtables in total. And then we had about 7 business matchmaking events. So we've been busy this year, and it shows. Our outcomes speak for themselves. 2.25 million in contracts. And listen, that's just at the point where we started counting, right? There's been more since the end of the year. So I'm just sharing this to share with you some of the learnings this year, some of the pivots. And that's the thing too. This is the biggest overarching thing as I get ready to close out this video, is be okay rewriting that script. The script that you have in your head, the script of what you think is supposed to look like. Because this is the thing, it's always going to look like something in concept. But when you go to actualize, when you go to execution, there's what you thought it looked like, and there's what it actually looks like. And there's always that gap of learning, that learning curve, right, for the unknown. And that means you have to give yourself permission to rewrite what you thought it was going to look like. I just shared with you that I thought the vision was chapters in every single state. And then after setting up the chapter model, I realized that there was still a way to build community in different states and not necessarily have to work so hard. That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to start with one concept and then to do it and then to learn that it looks different. That means you attempted it, right? That means you attempted it and you pivoted, and that's good. So I just want to ask you to give yourself permission. Rewrite the script that you have in your head. Don't be married to the first script. You know, there's a story with Pixar. I think it was A Bug's Life. It took years and years and years to get that right. Once the team finally got that right and they presented it to management, there was new management and they had to start again. My point is that I love the Pixar story, and I think it is the Bug's Life Pixar story too. Go back and look at that. It talks about all of the iterations of the original animation team presenting A Bug's Life production and it getting turned down and it getting swatted down, where there was no money, not creative enough, try again, and even when it got it right, new team. My point is, be willing to rewrite that script. You're going to need to, okay? Do not get married to your first script. Be willing to pivot when you need to pivot and pause when you need to pause. And also create boundaries. Create boundaries for yourself. So with all of that said, I want to invite you today. If you or someone you know are a woman-owned business and you don't want to go at 2025 alone, you're ready to have a sense of real community, access to contracts, continuous education, and opportunities to collaborate, then we invite you to come into the QCWIB family. Go to www.qcwib.com. That stands for Queen City Women in Business, where we're helping all women nationwide to get the queen share of opportunities. You don't have to do this alone. Get the opportunities that already have your name on it and find out those companies who are already looking for the services you offer. I can't wait to see you on the other side. QCWIB.com. Get started. Come on in with us today. Talk to you soon. Take care.